Go get on the track.
Welcome to Convinced and Confident. My name is Sarah Gilmore, and my co-host is Tamara Bluedorn. And each week we bring to you an inspiring message or person that will help you on your journey to self-discovery.
Today's topic is all things are possible. Do you all really believe all things are possible? That topic got me to thinking. Do we really believe that for ourselves? And the first thing my mind went to was we have examples in life and in the world to show us that all things are possible. One of the first people I thought about, her name is Maya Sly. She does not come from this great background or background of wealth, but she started prettyhairnow.com and is a millionaire from doing her businesses. We also have Dr. Gina Page, who founded AfricanAncestry.com. They all come from different backgrounds, which says they all had the strong belief in themselves that they could accomplish whatever they wanted and make it possible. What once was thought impossible, they made it possible.
Which is certainly true and can be done by anyone. There is this poem by Goodrich that says, "You were born, and with you, endless possibilities. Very few will ever be realized, but it's okay. Life was never about what you could do, but it was always about what you would do. And that's to make what seems impossible to become possible. All things are possible, as you say, Tamara, if you believe." Think about it. When we're young, we're energetic. We've got these dreams, these ideals. We can achieve everything. We can overcome everything we believe. We start out running, but after a while, we're faced with real life, the bills, the family, the taxes, the sickness, all of these responsibilities. And suddenly, with these responsibilities, we suddenly start to lose something. We lose hope. And in losing our hope, I think we lose our dreams. What do you think of that?
I think many people do. And I'll give you an example. I think I said to you several years ago, it seems that a lot of people between the ages of 40 and 50 completely forget to dream or have given up on the dream
I've noticed that.
or has just given up period and just doing their routine daily activities and no longer think anything's possible for them. And I want to know what happened.
Well, I've noticed that. I had a gentleman say to me one time, "Sarah, we're in a constant fight. We're either just coming out of a fight, going into a fight, or we're in the middle of a fight. Always in the middle of a fight." And when that happens, that's life, actually. We become disappointed, and people kind of forget about their dreams when they get disappointed, and they don't even remember sometimes what their dream was because they can't see their way clear. And that's what happens sometimes. And
But
between the ages of, as you say, 40, 50, that's it.
yeah, it seems like 20, they got all the dreams, but you can't tell anybody anything. You can't tell them anybody anything
Exactly.
because they've got all the answers.
Exactly.
30s, they start getting some real bills and things are happening, but you still got a little hope. And then they do whatever between that decade and say,
And that's
now
the end of
what
it.
is this all life has to
Yes.
give me? But what they didn't do is remember and take the action and make sure they had the belief in themselves to get it done.
That's exactly right. Those of us who are believers, we always say, now the book says, gird up your loins. Gird up your loins. That means get your mind straight, get your mind together, put on the whole armor of God. Well, I've never seen a warrior put on the whole armor and go back and sit down. Doesn't that mean you put on the whole armor so you can fight? Fight to save yourself. Fight to keep those dreams because you've got to make that which is impossible possible. There's so many things in the world in which we live now. There's so many possibilities. There's still a possibility that you and all of us can achieve success.
I like what you said about the get your mind right, because that was one of the points I was going to bring out. The first part of belief is you got to believe it for yourself.
Yes, you do.
So you got to
Yes,
get
you
your
do.
mind right that you can do it before anything else can happen, because you're not even going to get to the action step because you don't even believe you can do it. So you're going to continue to just do your same routine of dreaming, maybe if you're dreaming still, but
That's
not
right.
doing anything.
That's
because
exactly
you
right.
haven't ensured that you truly believe.
That you actually believe it can be done. All of us want to be successful, but success for you may be different for success for me. But guess what? You cannot be successful. You cannot make it possible if you don't believe. And you know what I found? You can't tip into success quietly.
Yes.
You can't tip around a little bit at the time. You can't worry about what others are saying about you, because if you get hung up in that, you'll never make it at all. You've got to kind of keep your head. As I said, gird up your loins of your mind. Keep your head together so that you'll know what to do.
Now, how do you think they should gird up their loins? Since you referenced that, how do you think they should gird up their loins?
The first thing you're going to have to do, in my opinion, is figure out what you want.
Okay.
What do I want in life? Now, once I figure out what I want, do I believe that it's possible for me to have that thing? Do a little bit of research.
Now, what I think along with that then, if they don't believe, one of the first things they need to do is do research and see if any others have done it.
Exactly.
But also, even if others have done it, if you don't talk positive to yourself,
Yes.
do your daily affirmations
Yes.
positive to yourself, is not going to work, because you've got to get the subconscious mind working for you.
Exactly. And so many of us have been brought up in a world where only negative was spoken to
Absolutely.
us from day one. Oh, Lord, girl, you're just like your daddy. You ain't gonna be nothing. You can't do that. Have you lost your mind? Are you crazy? We've heard those things all of our lives. You have to get that stuff out of you first before you can begin to fill up with that which is positive. That requires work. Nobody has achieved success without making work your best friend. That's the first thing I've seen. So many of us, we don't want to work. We don't want it to be too hard. I'm sorry. It's just as hard to fail. It's just as hard to be miserable as it is to succeed and to do that which is possible. It's just as hard. You don't want to be 60 years old or 65 years old, ready to retire, talking about, you know what? I could have done this, or I could have done that. I was talking to a lady the other day in her 80s, and that was the thing she was saying to me, that she and another lady, they're both the same age. There were so many things they talked about doing when they were younger. You know what she said, though? She said, Sarah, we could have done it, but I guess we just actually didn't have the faith. We didn't actually believe that we could do it. And the idea she had, I said to her, but you know what? It would have worked. She said, I know that it would have, but we just didn't have the faith at that time. It's sad when you reach a certain age, because this is not a dress rehearsal. You don't get to do this again if you don't do what's in your heart to do.
But just because you're a certain age doesn't mean to give up and not
Absolutely.
do it. You can at least be in the process of doing it.
Absolutely not.
We don't know when we're leaving this earth, so as long as there's breath, we have an opportunity to do the thing that we were put here to do.
You know what I found? So many of us don't have, I've heard T.D. Jakes call it, we lack the courage. We don't have the courage to get up and do what we need to do in order to be successful. Particularly after we reach a certain age, we're so afraid other people are going to talk about me. Well, guess what? They're going to talk about you if you don't do anything. So you might as well let them talk. Do it anyway. because it's better to be talked about that you're doing something, that you're doing absolutely nothing. Get some, I think the Jewish people refer to it as chutzpah. That's what they call it. Get some guts. Get up and do what you need to do. It takes courage. It takes guts to win in life. And we're just sitting around, a lot of people, just sitting around waiting for something to happen. It is not going to happen.
Oh no, because no one's going to give it to you.
No.
And it's not going to fall in your lap.
It's not going to fall in
And
your lap.
what they forget also, we all do, is that the word possible just is another word for your ability.
Exactly. Exactly.
We all have the ability to accomplish and do whatever we choose to do.
Exactly.
You are able to do it. The problem is, do you really believe that you can accomplish?
That you can do it.
Do you really believe that you can make what you thought was impossible a possibility for you?
All things are possible. Based on what? If you believe. I was thinking about Damon John. I was reading an article about him the other day. We all know Damon John is on Shark Tank. He's definitely a millionaire, maybe perhaps closer to being a billionaire by now. But if you remember, and you should remember because this was popular in the early 80s, I believe it was, he started a company called FUBU, For Us, By Us. But Damon John didn't have the money to start it. He had to work. He worked at a restaurant in the evening, and then he would go home at night and sew these caps. He wanted to start a line of clothing for young men rather. He worked his hips off until he got it done. And what eventually happened, because his mom believed in him, she actually helped him to take out a loan on the house that they lived in so that he could finance his company and get it off the ground. But one of the things he says is you got to hustle. You've got to work if you want to make your dreams come true. But it's all possible if you believe.
Absolutely. And that company was founded in 1992, Miss.
Oh, was it
Gilmore.
92?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I
Yes,
was thinking the
yes.
80s.
No, not the 80s.
That's exactly what I was thinking. But don't stop. Get out there. Reignite yourself. Think about that dream you had when you were 25 years old and get up and do something about it. I always believe once you start taking some action, things will get a little bit easier at the time. One step at the time. You can get it done.
Because you're actually, how do I say this? Making the muscle stronger
Yes.
to take the action to do
Yes.
what you need.
Exactly.
Because you don't know where the road is going. There's going to be some bumps in the road, but you're less apt not to take action and not believe that
Exactly.
it's possible for you because the whole time you've been doing something.
Right. When you get out there and get started, it's like anything else. I think I've said several times, you're driving your car at night and you want to go to Los Angeles, California. Well, you can't see from North Carolina to Los Angeles, California at one time. You can see only a little bit ahead of yourself on that road, just a little bit at the time. I'm not even sure you can see a whole mile down the road at the time. But you take one step at the time, 1 mile at the time, you eventually end up in Los Angeles, California.
But they can't let fear and doubt cloud their thoughts.
Very good.
So that they do believe that all things are possible.
If you believe. That's the key. That's the key. I thought of the poem by Lorraine Hansberry in A Raisin in the Sun. We all start out with dreams when we're young, as I mentioned earlier. But her question is, what happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up? Like a raisin in the sun. And I'm so afraid so many of us have had those dreams dry up like a raisin in the sun. There's so many things we could do. All things are possible if you believe. You could do this. You could do something. You could do it if you would.
Now, I would love for everyone to think about some of the things you've accomplished and just think about how it made you feel and what belief it took in yourself to do those things. It could be some small thing, what you feel is small, but that small thing might be something gigantic for someone else.
Yes.
And you never know who's watching. You taking action and believing in yourself just may give someone else the courage to believe in themselves and then go make the impossible possible. I love you all, and I think you all are fabulous and unique in all of your ways. So if you enjoyed this podcast, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and subscribe to us. Thanks. That's our show, and we thank you for listening. If you like our show, Convinced and Confident, please leave us a rating and download us on Apple Podcasts and Google Play.